In this video, I'll be sharing with you a requested tutorial on how to cut this stylish keyhole corset with front lacing bar. And if you're still having issues on how to draft your corset pattern or your bustier pattern, you can join us on our 5 days corset class where we'll be teaching you how to draft different types of corset, or our 3 days bustier class where we'll be teaching you how to draft a basic bustier, how to take proper measurements, and all you need to know for your bustier pattern. So this bustier class is just going for 1,500 naira for 3 days. To join, go ahead and send us a message on WhatsApp. So here is my pattern, and I've gone ahead to mark out all my basic measurements I need for this pattern, which includes my shoulder to bust, my shoulder to under bust, my shoulder to waistline, and 5 inches for my blouse length. My shoulder to bust is 9 inches, my shoulder to under bust is 12 inches, my shoulder to waist is 17 inches, and my shoulder to blouse length is 22 inches because I added 5 inches after my waistline. So I'll go ahead to mark my shoulder divided by 2 and add half because this dress has a sleeve. Come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. I'll place my ruler and I'll draw out. Next, I'll place my tape and I will mark out a basic neckline of 3 inches to serve as a guide to blend down my slope, my shoulder slope. Next is to find your chest line, which is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. I'll place my ruler and draw out a straight line at where I have that mark. Now I'll go back and mark what I have on the shoulder, which is my shoulder divided by 2 plus half, and now connect it upwards. So this is just to have a straight line at this point. So I was supposed to draw my armhole curve, which I forgot, but I ended up drawing it while I was drafting out my pattern. Next, I started by marking my dart intake for this pattern. So to mark my dart, I marked my nipple to nipple divided by 2, which is 7 inches divided by 2, and I have 3.5 inches. After marking it, I went ahead to place my ruler to connect, drawing out a straight line, and I went ahead to also use my marker to outline this. So the next step you want to take from here is to go ahead to mark your dart intake. So for my dart intake, I'm going to be marking 1 inch on both sides of my pattern. I went ahead to place my ruler and draw out a straight line. So if you're busty or you're on the bigger side, go ahead to use 1.5 inches for this part of your pattern and go ahead to outline. After this, I placed my curved rule coming down by ½ inch from that point, and I connected to my under bust. Go ahead to repeat the same process at the other side of your pattern. So after I was done marking this, I marked out a basic neckline of 3 inches by 3 inches. I'm just going to use this to serve as a guide to draft out my pattern. Now the remaining part of my shoulder, I'll divide it by 2 and mark. And from here, I'll go ahead to connect to the bust line. Now I'll be marking where I want my cup to start, which is about 1.5 inches, and I'll draw a fence line there to serve as a guide. Now I'll be taking a dart intake of 1 inch on both sides, and from there I'm going to go ahead to connect this all the way to the bust. After connecting, I'm going to place my curved rule and I'll connect to the other side. So I'm going to go ahead to use my marker to outline this. After I'm done marking, I'm going to go ahead to divide my armhole into 2. Just like I said, I forgot to mark this part, come out by ½ inch and mark my bust circumference divided by 4. Now I'll go ahead to connect this all the way off. After I'm done connecting, I'm going to go ahead to use my marker to outline. The next step I'll take is to go ahead to mark my bust circumference divided by 4. Measure this dart intake I have here and I will replace. Here I'll mark my under bust circumference divided by 4. Measure the dart intake, replace, and add my sewing allowance. Going down to the waistline, my waist is 28 and I want to snatch out 2 inches from it, so I'll minus 2 inches from 28, which will give me 26. I'll divide that 26 by 4, measure the dart intake, replace, and I'll add my sewing allowance. At the blouse length, I'll go ahead to mark my hip circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake, replace, and I'll add my sewing allowance. After I'm done marking this, I'm going to go ahead to place my ruler and I'll connect, drawing out the marks that I have made. Then I'll go ahead and use my marker to outline my pattern. So next, I'll start by marking out the cup part. So I'll come up by ½ inch from the chest line because the cup bridge is a bit high. And instead of 0.5, I marked 0.75 at this point because of the design we have here. Now I'll place my ruler and I'll come down a bit and then go ahead to place my curved ruler, and I will connect my curve to the underbust part of my pattern. And after I'm done marking that, I'll go ahead to use my marker to outline this to make it very visible. So the next step you want to take from here is to connect to the upper part of your pattern. So the cup is not so deep, you can always go ahead to connect. And I'll be using my free hand to connect. On this side, I'll mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2 and add ½ inch. Now if you're a bit busty, you can use 1 inch on this side, and I'll go ahead to connect. After I'm done connecting, now I'll mark my basic neckline of 3 inches, which I already marked out earlier, and I'll go ahead to connect this all the way to the center of this cup. So from here, I'll come up by 1.5 inches, which I'll go ahead to connect it up. So you can decide to use 2 inches there. Now I'll take it to the side of my pattern. Now you notice that on one side of this yoke we have the chantilly lace and we have a plain fabric. So you want to divide your yoke into two. Now I will come down by ½ inch here, connect it, and then go ahead to come down by 1 inch or at the other side, label my cup out and blend out the side. Now at the center we have a lacing, and from this part I'll come in by 2 inches. From there I'll go ahead to place my ruler and I will connect. And after I'm done connecting, this is what I have. Now I'm going to mark ½ inch here. This is for the opening we have at the lacing, and you notice it did not really go right up. Now I'll connect from that part all the way to the lower part, then go ahead to blend it all the way up. So this is what I have on my pattern right now, and I'll go ahead to outline with my marker. Then I'll go ahead to make a dot to indicate that we have a lacing at that side. The next step is to work on the lower part or the hemline. I'll come up by 2 inches. So I'll go ahead and use a freehand sketch to draw out what we have there. So this is what I have. Now you want to blend in your pattern and make sure that it matches. So now I'll come in by 2 inches. That is that 2 inches I marked earlier. Now this remaining part of the pattern, I'll be blending it with the other side, and this is the part that has the chantilly lace. And after that I'll go ahead to mark my bust dart. And to find your bust dart is the difference between your shoulder to waist in front and your shoulder to waist at the back. Now I'll just go ahead to label my pattern and I'll go ahead to cut this out. And after cutting it out, I'll be merging the middle point and the center, and the side together, because I'll be cutting that side as one piece. So at this point, if you haven't yet subscribed, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up. If you have any question, go ahead to leave it at the comment section. To also join our 5 days corset class, you can go ahead to send us a message on WhatsApp. I'll go ahead and continue cutting out this pattern, and after I'm done cutting out this part, so I'll cut out the 3-piece cup part, which I'll be merging the upper parts together. Also go ahead to blend in your dart when you're cutting this. So now at this part, what I'll do is to take my tape and I will tape it up, because you'll be cutting that side as one piece, while the other part will be serving as the lacing in front of the dress. Now moving over to the back pattern, I've marked out all the basic measurements I need for the back, which includes the shoulder to bust, waist and blouse length. So my shoulder to waist at the back is 15.5, after which I still added 5 inches for my blouse length. Now you go ahead and mark your dart, and for your dart you're going to mark your nipple to nipple divided by 2, which I'll go ahead to mark. Now I'll place my ruler and I'll draw out the straight line, and after drawing that out, I'll go in by marking my dart intake of ½ inch on both sides. Now I'll come down by 1 inch and I'll go ahead to connect all the way up and also connect at the upper part. I'll place my ruler and draw out the dart towards the lower part. Now the next step is to go ahead to outline this, and we'll start inserting my measurements. Mark my bust circumference divided by 4 and add my sewing allowance. Here I'll mark my waist circumference divided by 4, and I'll go ahead to measure the dart intake we place and add my sewing allowance. I'll also go ahead to mark my hip circumference divided by 4 and add my sewing allowance. Remember, the waist you're using for this bag is the same waistline you used for the front, which you also snatched your waistline. And I'll go ahead to connect. After I'm done connecting, I'll come up by 2 inches at this point, just like we did for the front, and I'll go ahead to draw out this asymmetric hemline for it also. So after I'm done marking this, go ahead to mark 2 inches. This is for the lacing at the back of the dress. Now you're going to go ahead to connect this, drawing out a straight line. And at this point, at the upper part of your pattern, what you do is you're going to come down by ½ inch, and then you're going to extend it all the way to the side. This is to prevent your lacing from popping up. And after you're done marking this, you mark your basic neckline of 3 inches and come down by 1.5 and connect. After you're done connecting, go ahead to mark 4 inches. This is the type of yoke I'm using for this pattern. Go ahead to mark ½ inch or 0.3 to avoid gaping at the yoke of your pattern. And I'll go ahead to label this. After this, I'm done drafting out my pattern, and I'll go ahead to cut this pattern out. So at this point, if you have any question, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and also leave your comment at the comment section. Thanks.